care, how adverse childhood experiences impact our work and our community. We are very blessed to have our presenter, Kendra Tankersley-Davis, who is the Vice President of External Affairs for JEDI, which is Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And she is representing from Crittenton Services here in Fullerton for children and families. So let's put our hands together and give a warm welcome to Kendra.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to do my best to share my screen, so let me know if you can see that.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Okay, I apologize. My expectation was to be there with you in person today. Last week I was diagnosed with bronchitis and thought I was doing better, and right before I was leaving the house at 1:01 p.m. I tested positive for COVID. So I am so sorry I can't be there, but thank you for the opportunity to allow me to present this virtually. So here we go. I understand I have 20 minutes, so I will be timing myself to make sure that I stay within those parameters. And we're talking about trauma-informed care, along with how trauma can impact behavior. Obviously, this can be a much longer training, but we're going to do the best we can with these 20 minutes. All right. So how we define trauma?
Can you make it into presentation mode so that we can see the slides a little bit better?
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me, oops. Hold on. Let me get my screen together here. How's that?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. All right, we're going to hit talking about trauma and how we define it. I think that's a great way for us to start. So trauma is defined as an experience that threatens one's sense of safety and security. It can involve physical violence, but it also can just involve something that we see or an experience that we may have. It can involve sexual abuse, general neglect, emotional abuse, as well as physical abuse. I think a lot of time in our world, we forget about the importance of being engaged with others, being connected to people, and how neglect can be just as impactful as the physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. And trauma can be experienced in a single event, or it can be repeated events. So it doesn't have to be something that consistently is happening. It can be one big thing that happens that can be a traumatic experience for that person. How trauma can be perceived, it is a lot very individualized. It overwhelms a person's natural ability to handle difficult situations, and it interferes with their ability to integrate and manage their emotions. A lot of times we see things that occur, maybe it's on the news, or for me, I've worked in the social services field for almost 18 years, and I've seen a lot, and I've experienced a lot in the clients I've had the privilege of serving. And you always wonder why. Why do people behave the way they do? Why do they do the things that they do? A lot of that comes from trauma, and in particular, childhood trauma. And often they don't have the ability to sort of regulate emotions. They see things differently than we do. So I'd like to share with you this very short video. It's about 3 minutes, and it helps give a really good understanding of trauma. We'll talk a little bit more about trauma, and then we're going to go into the importance of trauma-informed care.
Kendra, unfortunately, we can't hear the audio.
Let's see if we can fix that. You can't hear the audio at all?
Yeah, no, so you're going to have to close the share screen.
Okay.
And then when you share screen again, there's a little icon that says share audio on your computer.
Got it. Share sound. Here we go. Thank
Many people who commit crimes have experienced childhood trauma. In fact, the proportion of people in jails and prisons who have been victims of childhood trauma compared to the general population is disproportionately high. Some of the most common traumas that people in prison experience during childhood are seeing or hearing someone get badly hurt or killed, being threatened with a weapon, experiencing family violence or divorce, and having a family member who was incarcerated. Can these traumas influence behavior? If so, how? To answer this question, it is helpful to look at what is called the biopsychosocial model. Research has shown that experiencing trauma can affect people at the biological, the psychological, and the social levels. The combination of these effects can then influence behavior in a very strong way. Let's look at how this works in action. Let's start by looking at how trauma can influence the brain. The human brain is programmed to assist us when we are exposed to danger. The hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis for short, is our central stress response system. When confronted by a threat, an alarm bell goes off in our brain, triggering the HPA axis to release hormones, adrenaline, and cortisol, preparing us for immediate action. Our hearts pump faster, our breathing quickens, our muscles tighten, and we start to sweat. In this hyper-aroused state, we can choose to fight, to flee, or to freeze. Once danger has subsided, a negative feedback system in our brains allows our body to return to a non-aroused state, and we calm down. However, in cases of prolonged exposure to childhood trauma, children often perceive constant danger, and as a result, their negative feedback system can become dysregulated. The system can become jammed, causing their bodies to become flooded with hormones and their nervous systems to remain on high alert, constantly anticipating danger, even when none is there. This can help explain why some individuals who were abused as children can have extreme and even violent reactions to non-threatening and trivial stimuli. This is a concrete way that trauma can affect biology, which in turn can affect behavior. What about ways trauma can affect the psychology and social world of an individual? One prominent example is emotion regulation, one's ability to regulate their own emotions and read the emotions of others. Individuals who were abused often have a harder time recognizing, expressing, or understanding emotion. This may make them more likely to detect aggression in others and exhibit more aggression themselves. Researchers have also found that development of self, psychopathology, attachment, and peer relationships can all be negatively affected by childhood trauma, ultimately having the ability to affect behavior. Overall, childhood trauma can affect people at the biological, psychological, and social levels. This in turn can influence behavior. Like a puppet strings, these factors can be thought of as processes outside of one's control and awareness that can still have influence over their behavior.
I like this video quite a bit. Let me get back into my presentation mode because it really does a really wonderful job of explaining what happens to people and why our trauma-informed care is so important. Are you guys seeing my slides turn?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So when we look at this picture, it's confusing. This child is looking at herself, broken, shattered, and what do we see? How do they perceive themselves? When a person has experienced trauma, complex trauma, they see themselves and they view the world differently. It becomes confusing, which is how we get the answer to what I like to call the why. Why do people behave the way that they do? What we see is panic, we see anger, we see rage, we see frustration, we see violence, we see homelessness, we see substance use, we see mental health. And we have to start looking beyond that. And that's what trauma-informed care allows us the ability to do. It's also important, as prior to going into that we talk about ACEs, which is adverse childhood experiences. So it's trauma that has taken place prior to the age of 18. 1995, the CDC and Kaiser did a really groundbreaking study focusing on 3 areas: physical and emotional abuse, neglect, and household dysfunction. Household dysfunction can be divorce, It can be living in a poor environment or a lower income level, or an environment with a lot of violence. Perhaps it's a gang activity, living in substandard housing. We can consider all of those things household dysfunction, living with a parent or people who are dealing with mental health issues or substance use disorders, just incarceration. And what they found within these three categories is people who had experienced, even if it was just one of the ACE factors, it set them on a trajectory throughout life, including adulthood, of chronic health issues, mental illness, substance use, and a variety of other challenges, academic challenges, being able to function well in school. 2019 study that the CDC does, because they continue to follow up with ACEs, is 61% of adults had at least one ACE. Physical neglect, emotional, or household dysfunction. 16% had 4 or more. Women in certain minority and ethnic groups were at risk of 4 or more ACEs. 20 million cases of depression, ACEs had been identified. 1.9 million cases of heart disease and 2.5 million cases of obesity all had been identified as having 1 or more ACE factors. For this training in particular, focusing on trauma, I wanted to focus on mental health, depression. What we see when we have these ACEs factors, or when children have had these traumatic experiences, we see a high increase, especially at Crittenton, because that's the work that we do, in depression, PTSD, anxiety, substance use disorder, and self-injurious behavior. And so now that we have an understanding of trauma, what it is, and how it impacts our world, it's important that we understand that there's hope and healing, and that's where your trauma-informed care comes in. Trauma-informed care is, I know it's a buzzword we hear a lot, but important to understand that it allows the people, and it's not just clinicians or people who work in social services, but we're utilizing it throughout the justice system. I was actually just in a training last weekend, attending a training where the juvenile courts for Orange County were talking about how they use trauma-informed care in their various courtroom practices when working with juveniles who have committed offense, because we have to again look at the why. It's becoming much more prevalent also within the medical field, using trauma-informed care. So what is that? It's having an understanding that the impact trauma can have on a person, physical being, mental being, and overall behavior. And what can we do differently in addressing that? When we see the homeless person on the street, what can we do differently in addressing that? What is a different approach that we can have? Can we go into that situation understanding that it is highly likely that this person is dealing with trauma? And even more likely falling in the ACEs category, dealing with childhood trauma. And what's our approach? Our approach is less punitive, it's more empathetic, it's having more of an understanding, supporting that person in creating a structure. It's more of collaboration and not dictatorship. I can tell you, it's a tremendous amount of patience, because you have to have it. Because this is not a short-term fix or a quick fix. It's going to be a very long process as you're helping someone unravel the understanding of why they do the things that they do. So when we are working in any profession at all, especially that engages people, whether it's social services, medical, any of the human fields at all, it becomes important that we understand the trauma-informed approach. We're also seeing education systems start really utilizing the techniques that we learned in working with people who have experienced trauma, and understanding that that child who might be disruptive in the class may not be being disruptive because they have nothing else better to do, or because that they are just want to be defiant. It might be something that they can't control, and let's have a different approach. Instead of suspending and expelling, What are some supportive services and systems we can put in place, not just to help the child, but also to help the family? And that's where that trauma-informed piece comes in, is being able to ask questions that are appropriate and necessary that help us identify exactly what the challenge is and how we can help build sort of a healing system around to help that take place. So I say that to say the next time you come across someone in your daily life, whether it's in your professional career or just existing in your world, that you ask yourself those questions. For those of us who supervise people, there's also trauma-informed supervising. Staff, people come with stuff, right? People come with stuff. And so how are we as a supervisor, as a company, as an agency, able to support our staff by providing trauma-informed supervision? Not that we're therapists or doing therapists, but maybe we see different perspectives on the way that they work and can have a better cohesive relationship in a supportive environment. Studies show that when we have staff who feel valued, respected, and supported, that helps us maintain a longer staff staying with our companies and agencies and work environments longer, which actually benefits us all. So I'd like to challenge you to dive more deeply into this topic. It's so hard to talk about all of this in such a short period of time. But to delve a little bit deeper in, and Crittenton is always happy to come out and do more extensive training on these things, because it doesn't just help us individually, it helps our world. It helps reduce recidivism for justice systems. It helps reduce crime, homelessness, mental health, substance use disorder, things that are really plaguing our world at this time and making it, to be quite honest, in some respects, challenging to kind of coexist with each other as we try to navigate personal safety. So if we look at the greater good and ways that we can help others improve and be more supportive of them towards their healing, it actually helps our universe and our world as a whole as we see it. So I've got 1 minute left. In closing, I'd like to say this. As many of you know, Crittenton has a long-standing place in Fullerton, and for quite a long time, we had a group home and then a short-term residential treatment facility. And I worked there on and off for about 10 years. And I remember asking a group of our girls there, we call it an AWOL, they'd run away a lot and come back. Aren't you afraid? And every once in a while, I think you have moments that just stick with you. They change who you are in the work that they do and the work that you do. And one of the young ladies' response was one of those moments for me. And she said to me, what do we have to be scared of? Because what hasn't happened to us already? We've been raped, we've been abused, we've been beaten. I mean, what else is there? We don't even fear death because we've had so much happen to us. And it was about 10 girls in the room that day, and they all agreed that what she was saying was true. And I left that day, I'll be honest, in tears, because it hurt me that at 15 years old, this is your view of life and this is your experience. And it made me stand stronger in implementing trauma-informed care and being more patient when I would see them do things that just didn't make sense to me. And it also inspired hope that we can do better and we can make a difference. Recently, I've been getting quite a few calls from young ladies who have been in our program. One was 28 years ago. One had been there 30 years ago at our group home. And they shared with me how being there changed their life, though they couldn't see it at that time. They were 15, and now they have very successful lives and families. And what they said is, as horrible as we were, you were patient. The staff at that facility were patient with us. They cared about us. They provided structure. They stood strong with us. They provided us with a sense of community. That was trauma-informed care before it was even named trauma-informed care. So again, I challenge you all to really take a deep dive in looking how you can implement some of these techniques in your daily life because it legitimately does make a difference. And though we may not see it immediately, it always comes back to reflect itself and remind us that being kind, patient, and caring is always a game changer in somebody's life. Thank you so much for being so patient with me and allowing me to do this training virtually. I'm open to any questions that anyone may have. And again, just really thank you for dealing with my COVID situation. I very much appreciate it.
We appreciate you, Kendra.
Kendra, that was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Do you have any questions? I can call over the microphone if anybody has any questions. You were so thorough, Kendra. I don't think we have. Debbie, you have, oh wait, over here. Here we go.
We have a question from our youth who are streaming live, and we have a question from
Okay.
Janet. She wants to know, are there any support groups for individuals going through this?
Absolutely. There are so many. If you'd like, Beverly Bergman, our community engagement director, is there. If you'd like to give her your email and let me know in particular what you're looking for, I am happy to link you, to send you resources. There's online groups, there's in-person groups that are opening up. And it's important to have a community of support that can help you navigate through this. And even for families who are dealing with challenges, I always shout out NAMI, the National Association for Mental Illness. They provide support services for family members dealing with family members who may be having challenges.
Thank you, Kendra.
Of course.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. My name's Amina. I've been a foster and adoptive mom of kids from foster care. And while, we get the disclosure report and we find out all about their ACEs, well, as insofar as it's available, I've also been trying to learn more about like generational trauma and community trauma and how that feeds in or supplements ACEs to create some of the behaviors that I've seen with my kiddos, but I haven't really heard a presentation or anything about that. So if you can direct me to resources or have any comments on that, that'd be great.
I could hear about generational trauma, and I want to thank you for being a foster mom, because you make a difference. You make a huge difference in changing. You may not see it in the moment, but you do, and we appreciate you. I heard you were looking at more information on generational trauma.
And community trauma.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Have her give Bev her information again. Yes. There's Bev. She's the lady right there. Connect with her after the
Connect with Bev, Kendra?
That would be great if you could, and then I can email you some resources for information on that. There's actually been a lot of virtual trainings going on about generational and community trauma, generational trauma in particular, because it's very hard to break that chain. But we can break it. We can do it.
So Kendra, if you could send it to Bev, and then Bev, I'll send it out to Ms. Flowers.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, let's thank Kendra one more time with a round of applause. Thank you, Kendra.
Thank you all so much. I hope you have the most amazing day today.
Yes, and please get better.
Thank you. We're gonna try. Thank you.
Okay, before we move on to our member spotlight, we have a quick announcement from Judith Kaluzny. I'm so sorry. Here we go. I'm coming with a microphone. Hold on. We all want to hear you.
Well, I can talk.
For the YouTube.
I brought a copy of this Declaration of Public Health Crisis. I only had 20. If anybody wants more, you can email me, JAK@JudithKaluzny, KALUZNY.com, and I can email this stuff to you. In any case, in 2008, there was an international organization that analyzed and declared that the status of children in courts was a public health, in family courts, not juvenile, in family courts was a public health crisis. And 2008, 12 major organizations involved in families and divorce signed on to this. This declaration was presented to the last iteration we had of a state commission to fix family law. And what's been done since then? Nothing. I wrote to all 12 organizations to ask what they've done or what's changed. Nothing. Judge David Bells gave a talk 3 years ago to the Family Law Bar Association and the probate bar that does guardianships, specifically on ACEs and how the process that the parents go through in divorce court affects and damages the children. And this is not just because of divorce, it's because of the process that the parents go through. And I'm writing a book, The American Way of Divorce. And I wrote to him to ask if I could interview him in regard to his talk on ACEs, and he never even answered. So everybody talks about how bad family law is, especially how it hurts children, and nobody does anything. One thing that could be done that would help a little bit is to change the law on custody. Right now, we use the words custody and visitation. 16 states have abolished those ugly words. You know, it's custody battle, win custody, lose custody. 16 states don't do that. The Cowboys in Texas do parenting plans. Tiger Woods in Florida did a parenting plan. And our legislature in 1989 rejected that change. The Assembly passed it, and the state Senate killed it. So if you know any state senators, and I have not been able to find out why it was done, why they killed it. So that's a semi-local enterprise. In any case, there's another one that deals a lot, organization that deals a lot with family law, and it's the StopAbuseCampaign.com. And there was a great article in 2020 by Barry Goldstein called Life and Death in the Family Courts. You can find that on Google. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Jude. Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to move right into our member spotlight. We are very happy to have Providence St. Jude Medical Center with Leah and Leilani Beck, who's the Director of Community Services, and Cecilia Bustamante-Pixa, who is the Director of Community Health Investment. Would you like to come on up? Sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you and welcome. Thank you for welcoming us here today. Okay, you can click my slides over. Okay, good. Thank you. So before we give you a brief, overview of our community services, Cecilia and I want to explain more of our role and how it's very synergistic and how we work together in order to serve our communities at St. Jude. So I'm the Director of Community Services, and this is Cecilia. Sure. Yeah, sure. I'll stand here. Hi, thank you so much for having us over at your collaborative today. So we are going to do a tag team presentation, but I'm just going to briefly share. I share my time between St. Jude Medical Center and Fullerton and St. Joseph. Is it on? I don't think it's on.
It's on.
Oh, it
You
is
have
on.
to talk right
Eat
into
it. Yeah.
Top rated. Oh, okay. Wow, okay. I share my time, split my time between St. Jude Medical Center in Fullerton and St. Joseph Hospital in the city of Orange. And the role that I play at St. Jude Medical Center is really around the regulatory requirements of community benefit and community services in terms of what we offer to the community and how we stand by the programs that we provide in our communities and justifying our taxes and status to demonstrate that we go above and beyond what we are required to do to meet the unmet identified community needs. Thank you. How's this? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, good. So a little bit about our community services in St. Jude. So we offer these programs, one being Caregiver Resource Center of Orange County, another St. Jude Brain Injury Network,
Also, Move More, Eat Healthy. For those of you who know Peter Hernandez standing in the back, he leads this program along with Melissa Arbizu. We also have Senior Services as well as Community Care Navigation. Next slide. So I just wanted to show where the Caregiver Resource Center of Orange County is located. It's located across St. Jude Medical Center off of Bass and Cherry, off of Laguna Road. This center provides free resources, and this is because they are state and federally funded. So they can provide free resources to family caregivers, taking care of their family members, their partners, and loved ones. So these are just some of the services that they offer. Self-care, respite care, we give out respite care grants, as well as supportive care in long-term care planning, as well as legal and financial options. Classes are also available in Spanish and Vietnamese as well. Next slide. The Caregiver Resource Center really aligns with St. Jude Medical Center's promise, and that's really to ease the way of our community and our patients. So we want to meet them. We want to meet them at the challenges that they are facing with family caregiving. The Resource Center has been a nonprofit Orange County program since 1988, and I can remember this because I was a recipient of their services for my father, and I still am for my mom. They are one of 11 California resource centers in the state of California. So part of the referrals comes through our phone line, very old school, and we also have a website which is located at the bottom, and I think we'll give these slides out, correct?
Yes.
So you'll have it. Next slide. So our population served. So what we deem as a family caregiver is an adult caring for a person with an adult onset with a brain impairment. So this could be dementia, or a traumatic brain injury, or an adult caring for a frail person, 60 years or older, with a chronic illness that needs assistance with their ADLs, or activities of daily living. Next slide. So we're community-based, we are social service, case management as well. We have a team of about 25 social workers, licensed social workers, as well as master level social workers, and they provide clinical counseling, also supportive one-to-one counseling. We also provide a comprehensive assessment. So this is for us to ensure that we are providing the appropriate resources for our family caregivers. And again, we take our intake or referrals by phone and online. Our service area for the Caregiver Resource Center, we are to serve all of Orange County. So that's all of South County to our LA County lines. But for the St. Jude Brain Injury Network, we serve both Orange County and LA. Next slide. Respite assistance at the Caregiver Resource Center. When funding is available, we will provide respite grants. And so these are for our family caregivers, and they work with our family consultants, or otherwise known as our social workers. But these are some of the type of grants that we give out. We give out grants for in-home care assistance, for chores, cleaning the home, as well as out of home, so this is board and care, as well as supplemental, so this could be for DME, or durable medical equipment. Next slide. And this is just a picture. The top picture here is of our Caregiver Resource Center social workers, just some of them. And the bottom picture is 135 of our family caregivers who came out for a one-day retreat. So this is an example of us giving out respite grants to each and every one of our family caregivers so they can come out and enjoy their time with us. A little bit about the St. Jude Brain Injury Network. This is also housed in the Caregiver Resource Center, so they work in tandem together. You can see that they have a lot of supportive programming, and this again is free, state and federally funded, and this is for 18 years or older for adults and their family members to help them reintegrate back into the community as a survivor of a traumatic brain injury. But not only supportive programming, we also have advocacy support, and this is real important with our survivors. Next slide. We also have senior services. Senior services is also located in our center, so all three of them work in tandem together. This is just some of the supportive groups that we have out there. One being advanced care planning. We have Cheer a Senior program as well. We have transportation. So we do give out free transportation to our seniors who qualify. And again, we don't turn anyone away. So when they call us, if we can't provide a certain service, we do have a referral database that we help give them those resources. And also a bereavement group. We have a supported group that is also facilitated by one of our dear sisters of St. Joseph. She's with us there as well. Community care navigation. Some of you may have worked with this program at the hospital. They are housed in our hospital at St. Jude. They focus on our homeless community and those with substance use disorder. Carrie Delore, she manages this program, so some of you may have worked with her already. We are a team of licensed social workers. We have one certified addiction specialist and also a new social worker that focuses on solely just chemical dependency and working with our psychiatrists, our MDs on the floor. And Move More, Eat Healthy, last but not least. So there's Peter, you can see him in this photo here, but he leads the dynamic program, and this is really to focus on improving nutrition and enhancing physical activity in our lower income neighborhoods. And so one being Fullerton, we have 4 great, robust collaboratives, one being Fullerton being so dynamic. Also La Habra, Buena Park, and Placentia. But they do many things, many community projects. They work with a big team of student interns as well as residents. And it's with all of the shared goal to really improve our well-being in our cities. Next slide. This is one more photo here with Move More, Eat Healthy. This is fitness in the park. If you can see it, there's many parks that we have contributed some new fitness equipment in these 4 cities. Buena Park, Fullerton, La Habra, and Placentia. So I have Cecilia talk more about St. Jude Neighborhood Health Centers. Okay, become very intimate with my microphone.
Okay, so my part of the presentation is really about focusing on a specific program and investments, proactive investments that we make out in the community to serve the unmet needs. And so one of the biggest investments that St. Jude Medical Center has made in our communities is to provide, to form a federally qualified health center. I know that many of you are familiar with what a federally qualified health center is. And so this is just, I won't read every single bullet here because I know we're limited on time, but just to give you a little bit of information about a federally qualified health center, we offer medical, dental, vision, mental health services to underserved, uninsured, and underinsured low-income communities in North Orange County. So we have different affiliate sites. The umbrella of the federally qualified health center is called St. Jude Neighborhood Health Centers. And as you can see, we have different places where we have, one is in Richmond Park in Fullerton. We have a site in Topaz Elementary School. We have a dental clinic in Buena Park. And then our mobile units are coming back into operations. They stopped during COVID, obviously, and we will pick up again in September of this year. And then I want to give you a little bit of information about a newer site that we have in the Ponderosa Park neighborhood. Next slide, please. So in the previous slide, you saw the different locations of different clinics where we have them. And so we don't just randomly pick a site that we think this is a good place to be. Every 3 years, we engage in a community health needs assessment. And we look at where are the gaps, where are the needs in our communities. And when we looked at it about 3 years ago, we saw that in Anaheim, the Ponderosa neighborhood had this really beautiful remodeled community center, and the elementary school is right there, and so is the library. And wouldn't it be great to have a health center there? So we partnered with the city of Anaheim and St. Jude and very gracious donors to open up a new site. Again, it's under the umbrella. But these are some of the needs that we uncovered in that community, and that was the why we felt that we needed to be there. So next slide, please. This is just a rendering of where the clinic is, if you're familiar with the location. This picture was taken the day that we had our grand opening. And so this here is essentially what we are providing as of right now. Adult pediatric medical services, chronic disease management, prenatal care, dental care, mental services, education, case management for the whole family. And then briefly, you might say, okay, if I have plans, how do I referred to the health center, and what is the criteria? The criteria is really this. We see people who are on Medi-Cal or CalOptima, and also those who are uninsured. In other words, do not qualify for Medi-Cal, CalOptima. They are mostly undocumented. So those are two populations that we serve in, not just at the Ponderosa site, but all our community health centers. And we base it on income, a specific part of the federal poverty level. People come in and they pay a $10 copay to receive these services. And these stats only speak to the first 6 months when we opened the health center. So just to kind of give you an idea, within 6 months, we provided 238 behavioral health services. We began our medical care and immediately saw prenatal visits and OBGYN, pediatric services. And the one thing that we weren't anticipating is the amount of mental health services that was needed in this community. So we ramped up since the first 6 months to really have this bilingual, bicultural staff that are able to address the needs of our communities. And so I know I went very quickly, but do any of you have any questions? You will have access to our slides, and if you want to learn more about this program or any others, Leilani and I are here to answer any questions you have. Yes?
There was one federally qualified health center on Orange Thorpe near Euclid. It was North Orange County Regional Health Foundation was the name of it. You know where they moved to?
I don't.
Okay.
And also another criteria for having a federally qualified health center is you have to actually be able to demonstrate that there is a need. So perhaps if the SQC that this gentleman is referring to left, allowed some of the clinics to be able to move into some of these areas that were underserved. So, but I think the main message that we want to give to this collaborative is that St. Jude Medical Center is very engaged and committed to proactively investing in the health of especially the underserved communities in North Orange County, including Fullerton, which is where we are housed. So thank you so much for your time.
One more right here.
Oh, sorry, it's okay.
I had a question for you. This was regarding the community care.
Community care navigation.
There's a nonprofit organization of medics that actually walk the streets of Fullerton and maybe other areas that offers medical care to homeless people. Maybe they have a sore foot or they've got a broken finger or something, and it's their way of, first of all, giving medical care to someone who doesn't have access or thinks they don't have access to it, and then also trying to prompt them to get into a situation where they will receive more care and then thus get into a system of, shelter and so on. And I was just wondering, do you work with that group or a group like that?
I can't remember their.
Because
we have community care navigation. We've had services for the last 5 years. We started off in the emergency room, and so I'm sure that we did. You know the name, maybe? And we can.
No, I just contacted the president of Women's Club.
Dr. Kazi. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure we
something. Warriors or
yeah, definitely.
What's that?
Wounded warriors.
No, it's not. No. It's this is somebody who actually works on the streets of Fullerton.
Oh, nice.
Going just with they're medical people.
Right, they're medics, volunteer. They go out. I'm sure we do. It'd be great to talk more. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Was there one more question?
I have a really quick question for
Cecilia.
You mentioned in your Ponderosa facility that you have substance abuse services. So if there are on-site substance abuse services, if you could just give us a super brief description of what those are, and if it's more of a navigation to county services, let us know that.
So it starts with the baseline of just assessing mental and behavioral health, including substance use services. And once we determine the level of care that they need, they may be referred to a county level referral, but it's a warm handoff. So it's not just, here's the number, here's you go. We have a case manager, care coordinators that are specifically focused on making sure that they end up where they need to end up.
Is there any outpatient substance abuse services at the actual center?
Not substance abuse services at the center, more mental health, behavioral health counseling services.
Okay, thank
But
you.
we will connect people.
Thank you.
Down here, another question?
I just wondered if there are any fees for any of the services at the Richmond facility.
It's $10. You mean for the health center?
Yes.
Yeah, so for any of the health centers, including Ponderosa, it's a $10 copay when they come in. For dental services, it's a little bit of a sliding fee scale, but nothing compared to what, the average FQHC out there charges. Which is why it's such a strong collaboration between the FQHC, which is not under the St. Jude Medical Center umbrella, it's a partnership. So that's where we invest in making sure that those costs stay low, the people that come there can afford it.
Fantastic. Another question in the back.
Thank you for the wonderful presentations. I have a question about your services. My name is Karen. Especially work with the Korean community. So, do you have the Korean case manager in there, or provide a service for Korean or diverse other languages?
In this particular site that we're at, the predominant population that comes and lives in those communities are Latino communities.
Thank you.
However, we have a strong partnership with KCS, and so there's a lot of referral that goes back and forth, particularly if somebody comes to the clinic, we don't turn them away, but if we find that there's a more appropriate place for them to receive care that's culturally competent, then we would refer. But thank you. But we do definitely, where we can, serve all that come to our services.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, can we thank these wonderful women for their great presentation? Thank you so much. Very, very much appreciated. Okay, we are going to move right into our subcommittee reports. First, starting with the next gen. You want to come on up, Beck, or you want me to come to you?
Can you guys all hear me?
Yeah.
Am I okay on mine, or do I have to get a mic?
If you could come up, because then Kevin doesn't have to move. So we'll go right, he's multitasking because Deb had to leave real quick. So we'll go in this order. So if everybody on our subcommittee chairs could be ready to go, come on up.
I'll be quick, thank you. And just to piggyback on what Kendra had earlier is if you guys have questions or need more information on trauma-informed care, just let me know and we can refer you to that. Our next gen meeting is on April the 13th. We do meet virtually, so if you guys are interested in wanting to hear about what's going on for those that serve at-risk youth or at Promise Youth, feel free to tune in. April 13th at 12 p.m. We are going to be taking a look at what we have been doing in the past and planning for our next adventure. So please join us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Daniela. I'm the Assistant Director over at Services Early Childhood at Fullerton School District. Just giving you a quick update, we met, the subcommittee met on February 27th, and we had two guests. We had OKIC presenting regarding the services offered by the organization, and also they talked a little bit about the OKIC conference held at the Fullerton College on March 11th, which was very successful. Actually a registration was sold out before even the deadline. And also we had Priority Center, School Readiness presenting about services that we offer to the families. And we linked all the services presented with what we do for our families at the preschool program at the Fullerton School District. So we're gonna have another subcommittee meeting, but the date, unfortunately, will have to change. It's not longer April 24th due to a conflict that just came up. So I'll just update, as soon as we have a date, I will give you the update. So thank you, everyone.
So homelessness will be meeting this Wednesday at 1 o'clock at the Hope Center. Let Robert know your lunch order. He'll be making personal meals for everyone. We're moving ahead with kind of three things: advocacy, education, and coordination. Who's doing what? And so we're getting a subcommittee together around an education plan. Some of you guys might know about some of the homelessness 101s we did years ago. So focusing on educating our community around homelessness is what's happening. And we'll be talking about advocacy on Wednesday. And that's it. So Wednesday, it's at the Hope Center. And if you need that information, come talk to me afterwards. If you're not on the list, you can email me, but I just sent that email out today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Peter Hernandez here on behalf of the Health and Wellness Subcommittee. So just a quick announcement. We do want to let everyone know that we've actually changed the date and time of our monthly meeting. So before it was from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. So there's been a time change. So it's still the fourth Wednesday of every month. So our next meeting will be on March 22nd at 12:30. If you're interested in participating, please reach out to Debbie or myself so we could include you in the emailing list. But as far as what we will be discussing in the upcoming meeting, there's a couple of several goals that we need to go over. We've been really focusing on developing the strategic plan. And so for the upcoming meeting, we will be focusing on talking about how we could include the business sector into integrating different health and wellness practices. We also still need to discuss and update the goal focused on adolescent and youth health. We also need to discuss senior and adult health and safety. And so for the upcoming meeting, I don't think we'll get past those three goals, but we will be talking definitely about the first two goals that I just mentioned. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for those subcommittee reports. We appreciate it very much. Okay, we have a couple slides available for you. If you or your organization is not a member yet, we really encourage you to join our collaborative. You get to be a part of a lot more of the communications and opportunities that we provide. So if you're not a member yet, or you still owe your dues, if you could please take a picture of that QR code and we can have you join as an official member. And then next, we have this great town hall. Amon, did you want to say anything about this?
Sure.
Okay. Since you're here.
Thank you, Ahmad Zara, council member. I just wanted to announce that we're having a town hall meeting with the Fullerton Collaborative. Appreciate always the support we have. It is on fentanyl. I know we can't speak enough about this dangerous drug, and what the focus is going to be. A couple of things. One, really elevating the awareness on this. We have a group, an organization called Voices of Awareness. We have here Mike Fiore, who's sitting to my left, is the outreach coordinator. They go nationwide and really spread the word on this. Started by Andrea Thomas, whose daughter died from fentanyl, and they do a really fantastic job at presenting the facts on this. We have also Senator Tom Umberg, who has 3 bills right now at the state Senate, specifically on fentanyl, and he'll be here telling us a little bit about that and what the actions up at the state. And of course, we have Chief Bob Dunn, Fullerton Chief, who will speak on some of the successes they've had locally here in the law enforcement space as well. And Fullerton has really had some good success on 2 big busts, actually. But they'll give you a really ground level viewpoint on what's happening. So hopefully we'll see you all there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I know we just did our own presentation on fentanyl here two meetings ago, but that one was really geared more towards the school districts. So we really, encourage you to attend this one also because it's in a different focus and it's going to have a greater breadth of information. So thank you for partnering with us a lot on that. Okay, and then our last slide is Love Fullerton. If you have not registered, please do so. Fullerton Collaborative members are offered a booth at the lunchtime, a portion of the citywide volunteer day. The only fee is that you have to bring 100 snacks to share with the people that are coming for after volunteering for lunch. So I will be the one in charge of all those registrations. If you sign up, if you've already registered, you have your spot. I know I had some people asking where it's at. It is at Fullerton College in the quad. Okay, so we'll be all there communing together. It is a great way to touch base with volunteer-driven residents of Fullerton. So it's a great way to come out and share what your agencies are doing and to find more volunteers that are willing and want to work and give their services throughout the year. So please don't miss this opportunity to connect with volunteer-driven residents in the city. Okay, well, guess what? We're just wrapped up. We got everything. There was a lot going on. We have Helene, do you have an announcement?
Can I just make one quick announcement?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I just wanted to let our attention to the mic if that's better.
Yeah, why don't you come ahead?
Good afternoon. I know you all have so many wonderful things happening in your organization, but I don't want to leave the room today without letting you know that the Fullerton School District is opening a new center at Nicholas Junior High School. It's a community center, and we are launching Thursday, March 30th in the evening from 5 to 7 p.m. There's going to be a ribbon cutting celebration. You're going to get to meet many of our community partners. Some of you are in the room. We'll have student performances, complimentary dinner for everybody who attends. So we'd love for you to come out. Again, that's Thursday, March 30th at 5 p.m. at Nicholas Junior High. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lane. One more announcement here? Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Todd Huffman. I'm with the Day of Music event that is June 21st here in Fullerton. And it is now a subcommittee of the Fullerton Historic Theater Foundation, the Fox people. And we want to encourage all your organizations to be part of the Day of Music. We will help you put on your own Day of Music event. What better way to raise awareness for your organization and raise funds than music. And we'll be able to help you with venues and free musical acts, production equipment. So the flyer was on the table. If you're interested in being part of Day of Music citywide, get a hold of me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay.
You're so kind, thank you. Okay, this goes to benefit Terrace Chance. You may be aware of Terrace Chance Equine Therapy. So we're having a Bunko Boogie Brunch on the day before Mother's Day, May 13th. And here it is, and all the proceeds go to Terrace Chance. Thank you.
That sounds fun. Okay, well, that about wraps up our meeting. We do have this, another one. Get my workout today, I don't mind.
Sorry, I wanted to just pass it on to Mike Fiore to say a few words about voicing awareness, if that's okay.
How you guys doing? Yes, my name is Michael Fiore. I'm Director of Outreach as well as Communications for Voices and Awareness and Facing Fentanyl Now, the project. So if you guys want to come and see me, our Facing Fentanyl Now project is a coalition of the families affected nationwide. We are endorsed by the DEA. We have August 21st, National Fentanyl Awareness Day. If you guys go to our website, you guys can become supporters. We have education. You guys need to, pass on. The best thing we could do with fentanyl right now is spread awareness and prevention. I don't know if you guys know, but every 5 minutes we're losing a life to fentanyl. It's illicit fentanyl. It's everybody's problem. It's not law enforcement's problem. It's not just politics' problem. It's a community problem. Until we all come together and become one voice, this problem is going to get larger and larger. I understand you hear the word overdose. The word overdose, the definition means an excessive use of drugs. Therefore, you're trying to tell me that there's a safe dose of fentanyl. There is no safe dose of fentanyl. 2 milligrams is enough to kill somebody. So one sugar packet, that's 1 gram, can kill 500 people. This is everybody's problem right now. I understand you hear fentanyl and you might think it's a drug addict's problem. It's not just a drug addict's problem. It is everyone's problem. You do not want it to become your problem. We need you to become part of the solution. There's many forms that we can fight this, so please, if you have time, please come to this town hall meeting. We are not the DARE program. I am not telling you not to do drugs. That is not what's working for these kids. Please come down, show some support, get some education. If you need any more information, please come see me afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is it.
Last one. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for letting me piggyback on this. I wanted to be able to talk about High Hopes Counseling. I am the founder. We originated in 2020. We talk about ACEs. It's part of our intake when clients do come to see us. We incorporate it into treatment plans. We really like to encourage how much this does impact at the teen level, the adult level, and also piggybacking on fentanyl. I do believe that this is part of trauma, and which is included with ACEs. And so we're really all about talking about what is happening in our community. And so we are starting a group that is called Let's Talk About the F Word. And that is connected with fentanyl. And how do we just start the conversation? We are about raising awareness and reducing stigma attached to any of these pieces that bring shame and make people want to hide away. So please come and find us, High Hopes Counseling. We're on Chapman across from Zombie Donuts. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate all of you being here. It means so much to us that you show up and that this room is packed and that we have this chance to collaborate with each other. Again, don't miss the presentation we have coming up at the town hall next week. We appreciate all of you and the amazing work you are doing in the city, and we will see you next month. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.